My name is Jake Delano. I'm a senior technical services engineer here at Onshape. I've been lucky enough to be with the company for about 4 years now, and I'm excited to give you a look into Cam Studio today. This is an exciting new functionality that we'll be adding into Onshape in the near future, and I'm here to give you a demo of the product to see exactly how it will work when it's placed into Onshape. After my demonstration, we're lucky enough to be joined by Michael Johnson, Distinguished Software Engineer, and Rylan Johnson, Distinguished Technical Product Manager, the leads of the team that actually created Cam Studio, for some open Q&A with the group. Before the demo, I want to give you a little bit of background on how we got to having Cam Studio inside of Onshape. So Michael and Ryland, their development team, started out with an app called Cloud Milling in 2019 for Cloud Native Cam. In 2022, Onshape and PTC purchased this application for the purpose of adding into Onshape. Now, when this is purchased, the point was to have it be a fully cloud-native CAD and CAM environment along with PLM inside of the same interface for you all to enjoy. When we take a look at the functionality that will come with Cam Studio, we actually have the opportunity to bring you some real great functionality inside of the product. Things that will be included are 2.5 to 5 axis milling, machine and tool libraries being included in the product, also with post-processing and other functionality as well to give you a unified CAD and CAM environment. And you'll actually get all the benefits of data management inside of Onshape to get this done. So you'll be able to version, release, and collaborate on the toolpaths that you create. And of course, since we are inside of Onshape, your CAD and your CAM data will be associative to one another. So any updates you make to the CAD will also be updated in the Cam Studio. When it is released, Cam Studio will be broken out into 2 different parts. The first one will be for 2.5 and limited 3-axis machining. This will be available for all professional, enterprise, and education enterprise users. This is where you'll find the fully integrated toolpath and machine libraries. You'll have real-time toolpath backplotting, verification, and machine simulation, also with state-of-the-art capabilities like rest machining, adaptive roughing, and more. We also want to give you a glimpse into what will come in subsequent releases of Cam Studio, which will add in things like turning and nesting and fabrication features. For more advanced functionality, we've added in Cam Studio Advanced as an add-on to the product. This will give you functionality for advanced 3-axis machining, 4-axis machining, and simultaneous 5-axis machining upon its release. We also add to plan in the future advanced turning, mill turning, and probing. Now, let's take a look at some of the functionality that's included inside of Cam Studio. You'll be able to see all the functionality that I just listed inside of this video that we have created here. Now, as a note, we're showing you all this inside of Cloud Milling, the original application that was created for Cam Studio, as we're putting the finishing touches on the release inside of Onshape. All the functionality will be the same. The UI will just update a little bit, but we'll still give you capabilities for creating your toolpaths, working on designs, and also doing things like backplotting, verification, and machine simulation, as you'll see here. We're really excited to bring this product to you today and to have Onshape actually have CAM inside the platform. We have some great functionality. I'm excited afterwards to get you the chance to actually talk to Michael and Ryland to hear about how they led the development efforts of this product. And now let's take a look at a demonstration of Cam Studio. Inside of Cam Studio, you'll have your part, your stock, and your fixture available to you. On the left side of the screen will be your job tree. This is where everything that you create for the Cam Studio operation will be shown. Each Cam Studio starts out with creating a job. You pick the component that you want to machine, and something great to note about this is that you can set up multiple different setups for the same part inside of Cam Studio here. As we mentioned, we have built-in machine libraries where you can actually pick from predetermined machines inside the platform. Now, we've chosen some of the most common machining capabilities, and we're going to be adding more in with subsequent releases. But to start, you'll have options for 3, 4 and 5-axis machines like the ones listed here. We also have post processors that'll be built into the platform as well. Once you've set up your job and machine, it's time to define your coordinate system. You can either use the WCS or component or stock box points. Once the setup has been completed, now you can go ahead and define your tool and your toolpath. When it comes to the creation of tools, we have a built-in tool library that you can use for cutters, arbors, and holders. We also have additional functionality for customizing these if you need to get your job done. The real bulk of what you'll be creating inside of CAM Studio will be toolpath operations like this rough right here. We're going to start out with a rough to try to remove some material from this stock in bulk to get closer to the desired part like we have shown right here. We'll take a look into this toolpath, and something I want to point out is that this is a fully flushed out product that we'll be putting into Onshape, and we have advanced and really complete functionality inside of this. So for all of these different toolpath operations that you'll set, you have a multitude of parameters that you can set for your operation. We're going to start by machining the body, and if you have any questions about the options available to you, we have tooltips inside of here. In addition to this, since we want to remove bulk material, we're going to create a roughing pattern, and we're actually going to do adaptive roughing. Like I said, inside of CAM Studio, we really have the most state-of-the-art capabilities to get your project done. Other functionalities you can set inside of here will be features, whether you're doing a machining surface or a job component, step-down parameters for moving each time you go to a new level, things like height to actually define where we want the tool to start and end, and we can set remachining on to enable us to get those areas that maybe weren't originally be able to be machined with our first roughing operation. Now, this will help us go through, and you can define further stock operations based off the current stock from this remachining operation, rather than having to start over with the beginning stock. Inside of here as well, you also have parameter tabs for links, axes, collisions, and miscellaneous. Once your toolpath has been set up, you can view what this will look like visibly on the screen right there by checking off this box. At the same time, at each step that you create, you can also view the in-process stock for the given operation. Notice here that with the rough, we do have these steps still on the actual part and stock itself, so that's why we wanted to enable remachining so that we could get closer to this smooth diagonal finish like we mentioned right here. Now, let's actually go through and create a toolpath operation on our own. In this case, I want to create the pocket that's included on this machining bracket. What I'm going to do here now is I'm actually going to have curves as my strategy type. And I want you to note that as I choose to do this on a 2-axis profile, that filters have actually been added in here now with the toolpath operations to make sure we're only seeing the most relevant information for the given operation that we want to create. I'm going to define the path by the driven curve for the loop at the top of the part here, and then I'm going to set some other parameters. I want to do step down, change the number of slices to 1. Sorting will allow me to choose which angle this comes in from the cutting side and the method that this goes into. As well, I want to set the height relative to the drive curve so that the machine knows that I need it to go 12 millimeters into the stock. Once that's all been completed, we can view this in our toolpath settings right here. We can see the movement of the tool, and we have a couple of different preview operations built in CAM Studio to help you understand how the tool is going to interact with the stock. The first one we can do is backplotting. Backplotting allows us to visualize the approach, clearance, and movement of the tool along the part. This is a first visual indicator, and if you see any glaring issues here, you can always go back and change your toolpath. As a second level of preview, we can use the verify option to actually see not only the movement of the tool in relation to the stock, but also more things like how much material is being removed from it, the depth of cut, how much engagement is happening with the actual stock itself with the tool, and have an understanding if there are any collisions by visually seeing if the tool it collides with the stock or the fixture at all. At any point, you can speed these up or slow these down to get a better look at the operation. All the functionality that you've seen here will be available inside of CAM Studio upon its release. And for more complex machining operations, we have functionality like that available in CAM Studio Advanced to show you as well, specifically on this 5-axis machine part. Now, we've started up a video recording as we're putting the finishing touches on this because we were so excited to be able to get it out for you today that we wanted to make sure that we were able to display this for everybody working on the design. We can see here on this model that there are some faces that require rotation parameters inside of my CAM project. So what I've done is use that axis tab to set those parameters for the machine to tilt on when it's creating the part. Now, as the final level of preview and understanding, I'm going to simulate what would happen on that actual machine that we chose earlier. We're able to visualize what it looks like to have the work table moving and creating this part on the physical machine. And you can actually visualize the movements here. I'm going to start the simulation up and zoom in. We can see how this interfaces inside of the tool housing, and we can toggle this on and off to get a better look at the design. If at any point there were any collisions inside of the toolpath that you created, Onshape would notify you here to make sure that you didn't run into any catastrophic events that could occur if you were to collide a machine with either the work table or the stock and cause lots of damage to your machine. As a note, this is all done still in a cloud-native environment that CAM Studio lives in. So it doesn't require any hardware or heavy hardware to do. You get to do this on a Windows or a Mac machine. It's really part of being machine agnostic inside the system. An exciting thing that we'll offer as well when CAM Studio gets released, in addition to everything you've seen today, are the capabilities to utilize Onshape's data model for versioning, releases, collaboration, and much more. I'm really happy that we get to show you this functionality, and I'm excited to see the continued development efforts to get this out to you inside of Onshape in the near future. So past its initial release, we're going to add in capabilities for turning, mill turning, additional advanced toolpaths, automating toolpath recognition from CAD features, and much more. Before we conclude this part of the demo, I want to talk to you about LiveWorks 23 that's happening in Boston on May 15th to the 18th. This is a PTC-wide event they're putting on, and Onshape has a great number of customers and users coming to visit the show. We'll have a big booth showcasing Onshape's new functionality, including CAM Studio, along with having breakout sessions and training sessions for you to get your hands on Onshape. In addition to just Onshape, you'll be able to see the full suite of PTC products for PLM, AR, IoT, ALM, and much more. There'll be 6,500 technologists that are there with you, with 180 product demos, more than 215 breakout sessions. So it's a great opportunity to really see the breadth of functionality that PTC offers with its entire suite. And there's an exclusive offer to you today for being here at LiveWorks, at Onshape Live. You can register for LiveWorks with the code Onshape Live, and the first 100 registrants to do that will get an all-access pass to LiveWorks. This offer expires on April 14th, so go ahead and get them while they're hot. For those of you who are interested in hearing more about CAM Studio and potentially getting early functionality to it, please contact onshape_CAM Studio at ptc.com. Now, I want to bring in Michael and Ryland Johnson, the team that led the development efforts for CAM Studio, for some Q&A about their development efforts. Hey, Michael. Hey, Ryland.
Hi, Jake. Yeah, nice presentation. Very good.
Awesome. So we've got a lot of good questions from the audience that I'm going to start out by reading to you. And I think a good first one is just, what are your backgrounds that you ended up developing a solution like this? And really, how did you decide to create something?
Great question. So I've been in the engineering industry for 40 years. Then I started as a pattern maker. Then I moved into model making, which they sort of make prototype cars, and did a lot of CAD, a lot of CAM. So I was involved in that for a long time. And then later, Michael went to university in 2010. In 2012, we heard that a company called Onshape were making CAD in a browser. So I said to Michael, I said, do you reckon that's possible to put CAM in a browser? And he said, well, I don't know, but we'll have a go. So because he was studying at university, 2 years later, he said, I've got something. So we have a look at it, and he's actually got it working. It's all great. And then we sort of went, well, hang on. How do you simulate? How do you simulate? We want to see material removing. It's great having the toolpath, but what about... So, and believe it or not, that was the most difficult part of Cam Studio, was the simulation. It was really difficult. That you must have spent another 4 years doing that, and he was doing his PhD between 2014 and 2018. So he was still trying to fit this in. That's why it took such a long time. And I'd say, yeah. And we're here today. I think that's it. What do you think? I think that sums it up in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Thank you for explaining that. We're obviously so happy that you built this functionality and were able to add it to the Onshape tool set in the near future. So it's really exciting, and we're happy to have you guys answering live questions today. The next question is, what about Cam Studio's architecture is unique?
So because it's a native cloud application, it means that we can process as many toolpaths as we need. So that could be 1,000, it could be 1,000,000 at the same time. It doesn't make any difference. Whereas on a conventional system, you can only do maybe 1, 2 toolpaths at the very maximum. So you're not what's the word? Yeah, you're not tied to just waiting. You've got to set the toolpath, and then you can't do anything else. You're just sitting looking at the screen. Whereas this one, you could have you could open multiple tabs if you wanted to, and have different projects going at different levels, and just click on the process button, and away you go. And like you said, the same with the stock model. The stock model, I think, is really valuable because you can see every process as you go down the ladder. Hardware. Oh, good point, Michael. And Michael's on about the hardware. We don't need any hardware. You can do it on a mobile. You can do it on an iPad. You can do it on anything you like. Doesn't matter. Any operating system, Windows, Linux, Mac. As long as it's got a browser, you can do it. Yeah, of course. And now that we've Onshape as PTC has acquired us, we think it's a great because now we can use the Onshape CAD, their versioning engine that actually, well, I'm sorry to say, but that's got to be a world first. To be able to use versioning and create all that stock, and you can go back in time, is marvelous.
That's incredible. Yeah, I think just as we continue to add functionality, the more stuff we can get on the Onshape data model, just the more we're expanding the capabilities for our users.
Oh, very exciting times.
All right, Ryland and Michael, can I import stock models, for example, a cast model?
Yeah, we can. All the toolpaths adapt. Okay. Yeah, to the stock. So whatever stock you bring in, the toolpath will just adapt to whatever stock you've got. So if you got, like you showed in that demo, the square stock model, it went all the way to the square edges. If you've got a cast model, which is only, say, 5 mil bigger than the job, it will only stay within 5 mil. of the job and machine that away. It won't be wasting time in air movements or go outside. So yeah.
How are jobs set up to handle multiple part orientations? Do I need to make a new job every time?
You don't. So you could effectively bring in, say, 10 models. Now, I'm not saying that it's not, that you might not want to do this, but you can actually effectively do 10 setups, 10 jobs, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And machine them without bringing each one in separately.
You got one part. You every orientation.
If you got what?
One part.
If you got one part.
Top one.
Yeah, well, that's the other good point. Michael just said that because if you bring a part in and it needs to be machined all the way around the part, you can actually, it's one of the only CAM systems that can actually show the stock in every direction as it's being machined away. Nobody else, as far as I know, does that.
More exciting functionality. So we have a question about collision detection. Can I set up collision objects for the tool and holder to avoid?
Absolutely. Like again, I'll go back to your demonstration. You could have the vice as avoidance. You could have your parallels as avoidance. You could have the stock and the vice as avoidance, and the toolpath will not touch your vice. Also, you can make it avoid the machine. Like I said, if you want the spindle not crashing into the machine, you can actually do that as well. So it's, yeah.
How important is it to have that collision detection built into CAM? Like what kind of, real world consequences does that save you from?
Oh, well, the thing is, you could, just as simply put, if you had a tool and you've got the cutter part, which is probably about 25 mil long, and then you have the shaft. If that shaft, if you go too deep or it goes down a vertical wall and you hit the shaft against the job, you're in trouble. You'll probably snap the cutter or stop the machine or break it, or if you have collision, you can actually stop the tool going into the stock. So absolutely invaluable.
I'm glad we have that built in. When it comes to tool sharing, will you be able to do that?
Eh? Yeah, it's planned. We will have the most advanced tool sharing ever.
So when I change a tool, someone on this team will be able to see what happened?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. So I saw support in here for 3, 4, and 5 axis. Do you also support 3+2 positioning?
We do. Yeah, 3+2. It just means that you fix one of the axes rather than having them all going at the same time. Yeah, we do.
So,
In a nutshell, it's quite simple.
very exciting. What really, thinking about what led you guys to actually trying to contact the Onshape team?
I knew he was going to ask this one. Great question. So we decided that we knew we'd be a good fit with Onshape. So, but to make that happen, we really needed to go in the App Store. So we'd been following CAM for many years, and nobody had actually got it right, and we thought we had got it right. So we went to the App Store. What were they called? The support team.
Yeah.
And Mike needed the API to connect CAM Studio in to Onshape, and so after a bit of argy-bargy, we couldn't get it working. And I got to say that Joe, one of the directors, he intercepted our email and he said, "Are you doing a CAM application?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can we have a chat?" And of course, that just changed everything. We gave him a demo and he was Oh my God, yeah, okay. This is really working, because I think he'd been let down quite a few times, as a lot of people had, but ours was actually working. It was stable. It was good, and yeah. So the rest is history.
Yeah, I think we've been hearing about you guys for a little bit internally, and then I think one day I was like, "Oh, come to this meeting. This is super exciting." So I'm glad. I'm glad that that all happened and that Joe reached out to you. Um,
It is really good.
Now, thinking about the possibilities with being on the rest of the Onshape data model for collaboration in general, can you just elaborate on how that'll work?
So it'll work exactly the same as Onshape. You could have two people on the same document, and it'll just have I think there's a little, you'll know the name, just like in Onshape. There's a little name that comes up, and you can see who's working on your part. So yeah,
Yeah, do that. And
you could, yeah, you could add two toolpaths at the same time. I mean, if you wanted to speed the job along, I suppose you could have multiple people, I suppose, working on it. You can simulate at the same time, yeah. You verify at the same time. You probably do different toolpaths as well. You could do different toolpaths if you were checking a big toolpath and you wanted to know exactly where the collision was, or you wanted to. You could do two separate toolpaths in the same on the same part at multiple points. Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah,
Can't do that
I'm really
can't do that on a conventional cam system.
the great part of working in Onshape is that collaboration piece and just getting that to happen with the product. And you'll be able to share this out with people who need it. So it's all going to come. And as we're finishing up the development, we're going to just have this looking really like the rest of the native Onshape interface when it comes out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
In terms of what we can expect for functionality, are the parts read directly from the part studio, or do I need to do some importing process for that?
No,
They will be read.
they will be read directly.
When I create a job, can I load up multiple parts at once?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when you're setting up coordinate systems, can you define specifically G54, G55, etc.?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So when this is released into Onshape, can you tell me a little bit about how it'll work with the rest of Onshape's release management system?
Now that is a good question. So I would assume that we'll probably try, and yeah, well, I think it will be the same, won't it? I think it's planned. There's nothing absolutely finalised at the moment, but I would imagine the team would probably want to release everything at the same time as Onshape.
Awesome. And can you tell me, is that normal for CAM platforms to have release management built into them?
No, I'd say definitely not. A lot of them don't release very much because you could break their system. But the way we've got Cam Studio set up, we're definitely going to follow the Onshape release management and get everything will be bang up to date, which is, I'd say, another first.
Exciting. We asked you earlier, and I think you mentioned, Rylan, what you guys thought was the most difficult part of creating this. What was your favorite part of bringing Cam Studio into Onshape?
Ooh, that is a good question.
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. He's actually what the most. It was a brilliant challenge. Do you know what do you know what really did it for me? Was the versioning, when Michael actually got that versioning working inside Onshape, and I thought you can go back in time through the toolpath. I mean, Really? Because once you, in a conventional system, once you've done your part, you've done your toolpath, and you think, oh, I don't like that, I'll do another one. But oh, hang on, now the one I wanted before was actually the right one. You bad luck. You've got it, but not in Onshape. You can just go back. In Cam Studio, just go back to the version and bring it back, and it's still there. Brilliant! I love it. The concept is you could do the whole job. You know, you could do 20 toolpaths, delete them all, start again, and then still go back and get a toolpath if you want to. Brilliant. I think that for me is a very defining. And of course, and the other thing is you can do branches. You could also break off, so you could do that, then version it so that you don't lose it. Branch off and do another one, and then do another version. So the possibilities are brilliant. Love it.
Do you think that one of those functionalities you just listed, you know, from your prior CAM experience, Ryland, which one of those things would you say would be the most valuable based on you using CAM products before? Which one do you wish you had before you created it?
Oh, definitely. We're talking about the version, you know. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's never been possible. I just. Yeah, the only way, yeah. Oh no, I love it, and you can do it all in one window as well. There's no closing windows, and the other thing, what about if you have a power cut? I'm doing 50 toolpaths. You have a power cut. Oh my God, I forgot to save it. Gone. The whole lot's gone. So you've got to go and start it all again. Never going to happen in Onshape Cam Studio. All the data is always there, no matter what happens. Brilliant. Love it.
That's incredible. I can tell you right now, I always forget how lucky we are to have the auto saving capabilities inside of here, even to the point where if I do something on my desktop for like a PowerPoint or something like that, I'll close my laptop. And I've had a couple instances lately where I'm like, wait, I gotta save some stuff sometimes. So it's great to have that helping out here.
Yeah, haven't we all done it? Where we've just lost everything. You go, what? Oh, yeah. Love it.
I have a couple of questions on simulation for you guys here. First one, will simulation stop collisions?
Oh, stop.
Or excuse me, sorry, I need to rephrase that. Will simulation stop on a collision?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you didn't actually show us in the demo, but if you get a collision, everything goes red, and it'll stop dead. If you just want to carry on and see where all the collisions, and what happens is, you know where you had the G code on the left of the simulation, it runs through, doesn't it? In there, you'll have red bars showing all the way down on every collision. So you can go to any collision and you can go, oh, the tool's not long enough. I need an extension, or I need to bring the stock away from the table. So, you know, all these things become apparent when you go to the collision and you can rectify it. So, yes, the answer is yes.
And thinking back to the Onshape data model as well, if you do run into a collision, just restore back to a previous version that didn't have that happening. Or you can always go back and edit your toolpath and it'll update.
Absolutely.
So in addition to thinking about collisions, will the collision show gouging into the material inside of a simulation?
No, so you can turn it off. So there is a button on the simulation where you can turn it off and it will actually carry on going. But if you set it up to stop on the collision, it will just stop. And usually in the verifier as well, you will see a red mark. So you know that you have the different colors in the verification. You have, I don't know, orange for the rougher, green, red, blue. All the red marks are a collision. Now, they may not. Actually, to be fair, they may not even be that. They may be just the shaft touching the material. So we show that as a gouge, but in actual fact, it may not be. But we warn you. We show you. So what you can either do with that, you either use a different cutter where the shank is smaller than the bottom of the cutter, so it never touches that So that it's your choice what you want to do with the collision. We just give you the information so that you can act on it.
I want to remind everybody again that as we're going through this demonstration and we have Ryland and Michael answering questions, that if you do have any questions, to please reach out to the email that we showed earlier, onshape_camstudio@ptc.com, to hear the latest about the product. And also to continue to put questions in the Q&A panel where our moderators will pass them over to me. Going back to working with Cam Studio inside of Onshape, can I store my G-code program in the Onshape document?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Everything is stored.
You create a tab. Okay.
Yeah, you can create a new tab in the document and your G-code will be in there. And everything is stored.
Yeah.
Or everything is versioned, everything is versioned, so you lose nothing.
It seems like we have a lot of questions coming in the Q&A about post-processors. We're going to be shipping a library of predefined post-processors and machines on our initial release. So we're going to be setting these and really when they reach a critical mass to start, and we'll be adding more as time goes on. So we're going to continue the development efforts. You'll see some available in the product upon its release, and Michael and Ryland and their team will continue to build these out over time with subsequent releases of Onshape. Would you guys like to add any color to that?
No, I think that. I think you've done a very good job of that, Jake. Yeah, I'll just reiterate that. Yeah, posts, machines. Well, they'll be added. Well, I don't think it'll ever end. It's a sort of be an ongoing thing where we'll be just adding new machines come out. We'll just add a new machine, new post, new functionality. Yeah.
Very exciting. Will there be training available for Cam Studio?
I would definitely say yes, but we haven't been part of that conversation yet. But I would almost certainly, off the top of my head, definitely say absolutely.
Yeah, I think to add to that too, usually inside of Onshape with our Learning Center courses, we put the courses out upon their release. So as we get closer to the time of release of Cam Studio, we'll be looking to add that into the product. But of course, like everything else we offer inside of Onshape, whether it be PDM, rendering capabilities, thinking about some of the newer functionality like PCB Studio and frames, they all have courses inside the Learning Center, and Cam Studio will be no different.
Right.
More on collision objects I'm getting. That seems to be a really big hit with everybody. Can I choose to tilt the tool, or what other options do I have when a collision is detected in a toolpath?
So, can I choose to tilt the tool? Of course you can. But so it depends on the toolpath. But so I'm assuming from that you're doing a 3+2. Well, five you can just make. What you can do. So there are two ways you can do this. If you're in 5-axis, you can do what's called tilt the tool, and you can make the tool tilt round. You can make it go round or miss an object so that it doesn't touch it. 3+2, you could change the angle yourself, but again, if you just put collision checking and touch that object as a collision check, it won't touch it anyway. So you can retract. You can do
Stop.
you can do retract, stop, and what's the one where you can it'll actually take the G code and remove the tool around the object, so that it completely avoids the collision.
Awesome. All right, if we have any more questions, please submit them to the Q&A inside of the attendee hub for Onshape Live. We'll try to get a few more in before the end of the session right now. What I can give you is a little bit of a sneak peek into the next time that you'll see Michael, Ryland, and I on a stage will actually be at LiveWorks that I promoted a little bit ago. We're going to have a fireside chat with Michael and Ryland, emceed by myself, similar to this one. And this will give you a chance to ask questions, we'll have a chance to ask questions from the audience directly with them and get the chance to meet them and hear about their experiences. So that'll be a really great opportunity to come see Cam Studio and the rest of Onshape as well. We'll also have a booth set up dedicated to Cam Studio to show you how it's going to be used to create products. Ooh, we have another one. When we have a list of predefined tools to choose from, end mills, ball mills, for example, things of that nature.
Yeah, I think we'll have a set of tools, you know, a standard set that can be 16th, 8th, quarter, 3/8. I'm going through my English. Half inch, 5/8, 3/4, 1 inch, something like that. And you'll be able to do your own as well. And we're hoping to have had tool library functionality as well. So
and that'll include holders and extenders, right?
you will be able to, and you can define the holders and extensions already. It's within the capability of Cam Studio now. What we're hoping to add is a standard extension that you may get from a manufacturer that you can bring in as well. This is all going to be in the future.
And as a reminder, this was a sneak peek in today's session. So there's going to be so much more functionality added to the product as we continue to develop it. Michael and Ryland and their team did a great job developing cloud milling. And as we're bringing it onto Onshape, we're also making much more development efforts to add on to what capabilities they already had available. So we've heard that a lot of stuff is planned here today, and it is, and for good reasons, because we're excited to get this out to all of you Onshape users so that you can get cloud native CAD and PDM as well, along with your CAM. Ryland, Michael, another question. Is EDM planned?
I don't think anything is off the table at the moment. I think we've got most things that we want to plan for. So it will certainly be something in the future that we'll think definitely.
Do you happen to know if Onshape Cam Studio will support ISO 13399?
Yeah, good question. That we have got that. That's in the pipeline. That is also another planned thing. So yeah, very exciting.
Awesome. This is all really exciting, and I'm glad that we got to work on this presentation today. That's about all the time we have for today. So I want to thank everybody for coming out and checking out Cam Studio. We have a lot of great breakout sessions coming in the few sessions afterwards, few session blocks after this, and we end the day with our sneak peek and design competition. So stick around for the rest of Onshape Live, and thank you guys for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.